So here's what this video today is not about. It is not about making an overly simplistic analysis, drawing random lines on charts of Apple, which I see all too often. And quite frankly, I think it's just unfair to the investor community to look at something that simple, because it's usually not that simple. But what this video is about giving you some perspective on actually using a rather simplistic analysis on Apple, but that actually has history. So when it comes to technical analysis, which is what this video is about, it's very simple to just draw simple lines and use simple moving averages and what's called single factor analysis, which just simply won't work over time. But there is a way of using technical analysis in a simple way, as long as there's history of a repeatable pattern. And a lot of times, to me, that has to do with something having basically rallied too strongly or sold off too strongly to be sustainable. So let's go to the charts and have a look at this. And here is the long-term chart. And when I say long-term chart of Apple, it's basically stretches back to 2000 and let's see, what is it? 2012 on the downside. On the downside. At the bottom on the x-axis down here, it goes back down to about 2012. And what I'm trying to show you here is that every time the stock has had a steep rally, and quite frankly, it's only really had two of these so far. One of them was here into the, let's see, this was the highs in almost exactly a little bit less than, about, let's call it 11 months ago. And you can see how we accelerated, and then it was the end, at this end bit here where the acceleration got very, very steep. You guys can see that? That's this bit. The thing about this move right now that we're seeing, even though it doesn't look exactly like that move we saw in 1 year ago or 11 months ago, it is also getting increasingly steep. This here is the weekly chart, so multi-year using weekly increments. And if you look at the momentum oscillators at the bottom here, that's silly to show you that way, but basically we have two things. We have the MACD and we have RSI. Now RSI could be more overbought, MACD could be more overbought, but if you take that in conjunction with this basically vertical move, which by the way does technically still have a little bit more upside towards maybe 250, 55 bucks, is entirely possible for Apple, but it's increasingly dangerous to buy the stock up there. Now if we move on to the daily chart, you can see this a bit more clearly here on the daily chart. If you look at the RSI and the MACDs at the bottom here, you can see these are much more stretched. So this is just momentum oscillators, but you can see these, particularly the MACD, is more stretched than the weekly one. And if we go back to the chart up here, this is now the daily chart, you can see that there is more room to the upside. But again, at this point, if you're buying Apple stock, maybe you're chasing it into earnings, you're really doing that, you're chasing it. So to me, one of the simple rules of investing and trading is to either, you can trade breakouts, I guess, if you want to, but at the end of the day, the breakout in Apple took place roughly here, which was in September, so more than a month ago, and not up here. Now there is more room up here, but again, I just wanted to kind of put out a cautionary note. So again, I was really battling with myself to make this video about Apple, because it's, like I said, I think there's so many videos out there that I come across every day and certainly every week on people just making a way simple analysis of a stock like this, which is quite a complex stock. But I thought I'd at least give you some perspective on if you want to do something simple, then at least it has to have some repeatable pattern behind it. And I think this on the chart of Apple, I think, at least in my opinion, is pretty compelling to see that at the very least you don't chase it like crazy up here. The better time to buy was either at the low end of trend down here, or maybe down here, or maybe on the breakout, but not right now. So I hope it helps, folks, and I'll talk to you soon.